Welcome in to the Wynford softball portion of tonight's show here on Picture Corner East from the Pizza Hut in Bucyrus. Before we talk to Coach Jennings, I'd like to remind you that this show is brought to you in part by Blythe Freely and Todd McDougall at Freely & Company Insurance in New Washington, Ted Coder at the Monarch Body Shop in New Washington, as well as the Ohio State University at Marion, a Big Ten education close to home. Here we have head coach Jamie Jennings. Thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Thanks for having us.
So you guys are coming off of a 4-22 record overall, 2-14 in the Northern 10 Conference, and you did lose 4 seniors. A lot of those people that I went to high school with. So just talk about what those seniors meant to this team overall.
I feel like they brought great leadership. I mean, all 4 of them were in our program for all 4 years of high school. And honestly, just the energy and the camaraderie that they brought to the team. All 4 of them truly loved the game, and I can say truly loved each of their teammates. So that definitely makes them hard to replace, let alone what they did on the field for us.
So with losing 4 seniors, you guys do have, I think, a bright future ahead. You returned 5 seniors and 5 juniors as well, if my numbers are the same. So how are your numbers this year, 9 through 12?
We have 16 girls right now, so we're going to kind of run what we did last year, a makeshift JV season with our varsity. When we're given 32 play dates, we try to make the best of that, even though our varsity doesn't travel with our JV. So we'll run a JV schedule just on non-varsity play dates, so that way everybody gets a chance to play. I really think nobody comes to practice every day to not get a chance to play for 3 months. So.
Right, and I know you guys work hard in the offseason, so what are some things you've been able to do from the end of last year to the start of this year to get you guys ready for this season?
Yeah, absolutely. So we run a kind of a different summer program with our 18U where we play other N10 teams, and we're able to bring in some other kind of local teams that aren't necessarily in our league. And that kind of gave us the opportunity to see what these 5 could do without those 4 seniors from last year. And then throughout the off season, now that we have the batting cage in in the old gym, we're able to use that. And that really kind of gives us the ability to throw live and actually see the ball out of the hand and things like that. So that's definitely beneficial. And, we had 12 girls come to preseason workouts for about 3 months, so that was huge too, and I think we'll see the benefits of that.
So last year, obviously, Bucyrus won the N10, and you guys obviously want to see yourselves at the top of that pack. What are some other teams that you see competing for a title this year?
Cary, they really started playing some good ball right there towards the very end, right on that tournament run that they had. So I think that they're going to come back stronger, especially now that their pitchers have had a year under their belt. Crawford's always going to be up at the top with that. And now that some of their more talented players are experienced in that junior and senior class, I think they'll definitely be competitive. And I think Bucyrus will still be competitive. I know that they lost, a tough senior class, but I still think Ashley Davis will do a nice job for them.
So obviously, I'm going to guess these are your 5 seniors that you have.
Yes.
What is the biggest thing you're looking at of these 5 girls as you guys try to compete on the diamond?
They all do an amazing job. I mean, we say by the time you're a senior, you should be an extra coach on the field.
Right.
But I've never actually had a group of seniors that stop somebody, fix a drill before we even get a chance as coaches to see something going wrong. So not only do they communicate and they keep the energy up, I think they do a great job of helping their teammates out.
Thank you very much for coming out. I'd like to remind you that this show is brought to you in part by Mike Kleinert at Ag Credit Residential Lending, Bucyrus, Mount Gilead, and Marion, Dr. Thomas M. Britton at the Clubview Vision Center, and Luann Krebs at River's Edge Embroidery, Screen Printing and Signs, Route 309, across from the Marion Depot. Up first, we have Maycie Morgan from the Wynford softball program. Maycie, thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So I understand that you play pitcher. Just talk about what it is being a pitcher and trying to be that leader of the defense on the diamond.
As my job, I just want to throw strikes, even if I'm not a strikeout pitcher. As long as it's on the field, I know my team has my back.
So obviously you guys didn't finish as well as you probably wanted to have last year. Was pitching a big issue last year, or were you guys able to maintain some sense of defense?
I think defense was definitely our harder spot. I think hitting we did really well, but I think this year we're really going to clean up with defense and hopefully have a better season.
So what are just some team goals you would have then going into this year?
I would say our biggest team goal is to win a sectional, but first we need to be top of the N10, hopefully win the N10.
All right, thank you for coming out tonight. Next up, we have Maddie Johnson. Maddie, thanks for coming out tonight.
Thanks for having me.
What is your positions on the team this year?
I play outfield, center, and left.
Now, I understand that you signed with West Liberty College recently, so talk about what you're going to try and bring. Obviously, you're a college signee, so you know you'll be playing at the next level, but what are you going to try and bring to the team this year to wrap up your senior season?
Definitely going to focus on senior year first, and being part of these girls is definitely one thing I want to do, to go out with a bang with all of them and have a great season. I think all of us will be able to bring something and have a great senior year. I personally want to do my best in the outfield and prove myself worth. Even though I'm a senior, I still need to prove myself and get better, and there's always room to improve for sure.
And would you say overall that you prefer with the bat in your hand, or do you like being out in the outfield?
I mean, I love both, but chasing those balls like a dog with a tennis ball is definitely my favorite thing to do.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Adrienne Whitmeyer. Adrienne, thanks for coming out this evening.
Thanks for having me.
What is your positions on the team this year?
I am probably mostly going to be playing third this year.
Third base. All right. So what is the importance of being a third baseman there in the infield for
I
softball?
would say talking is the biggest thing, but also not letting those balls get past you, especially when they're right down the line.
So obviously the N10 is a pretty tough conference each year for softball. What is the biggest competitor you guys see on the diamond this year?
I'm going to say Crawford.
I don't know. How did you guys fare against Crawford last year in both games?
They took both. Yeah,
Okay.
they took both.
So I'm sure you guys have a bad taste in your mouth, but who are some other teams other than Crawford that you're looking at that you have on the
I
schedule?
know we definitely want to put up a battle against Bucyrus, and we were scoring a lot of runs on them, even with Kylie Owen, so we're hoping to come back and take one from them.
So what are some personal goals? I know you guys are all going to try and be team-oriented this year, but you do also want to excel yourself. So what are some personal goals you have going into this year?
I was a strong batter last year, and I'm hoping to be about 500 this year, and honestly, just good defense this year.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming out tonight. Good luck this year. Next up, we have Kylie Owen. Kylie, thanks for coming out tonight.
Thanks for having me.
So what positions are you on the team this year?
I am the first baseman.
So being a first baseman, what is some importance that you have in the infield?
Just knowing where the ball's at and communicating with your teammates. Pretty much.
And would you say overall that you prefer offense or defense?
Definitely defense.
And then do you have any plans after high school, possibly playing any softball? Gotcha. All right. So thank you very much for coming out tonight. And then lastly, we have Autumn Schafer. Autumn, thanks for coming out this evening.
Thank you for having me.
And what will your positions be on the team this year?
I pretty much go wherever coach needs me. I'm pretty sure I've played every position on that field. Mostly first pitcher. I play a little bit of left field.
So just kind of being a utility player and being able to be plugged in basically anywhere. How important do you feel as you are a part of this team, basically saying, I can do anything you want me to do, coach?
Well, most of the players, they can play anywhere if they put their mind to it. So I feel it's like a really privilege basically to play, like have coach know, I can play wherever she wants me.
So have you played softball all 4 years of high school?
Yeah.
So you've grown up with these girls, you played a lot of softball with them. Just talk about what it's like having a strong senior class like this, just knowing everybody so well.
Well, some of these guys, I grew up with, like through school, through everything basically. Some of them I play another sport with, so I'm like really close to them. I feel like we communicate a lot, and just it's nice being close to the team.
Thank you for coming out this evening. Before we talk to Coach Burke, once again, I'd like to remind you, or Coach Jennings, I'm sorry. I'd like to remind you that this show was brought to you in part by Doug Little and Adam Weisner, and associates at Advanced Fiber Technology, Coach Tim Plumley and Mohican Sports Medicine and Rehabilitation, as well as Matt Tudor, Spitzer, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Kia, 1 mile east of the Richland Mall. So coming up this year, Coach, obviously the N10 is a gauntlet like it is every other year in a lot of sports, but especially softball. What is your non-league schedule looking like?
Since we've dropped Ridgedale, we have a lot of non-league games, like more than we've
Right,
ever
so
had.
two games.
Yeah. So, we have 2 weeks that are kind of non-conference weeks for us. So with that, we've picked up Tiffin Calvert. That was a good game for us last year, 1-run game, both of them in that doubleheader. Then we've also picked up Monroeville, Old Fort, a lot of in-district teams. I think it's important, and I think the other N10 coaches, especially softball coaches, will agree. We got to get our kids exposure because we're like one of the smallest conferences that go to district for voting, and that kind of hurts our kids because the other coaches don't get to see them and really see how good that they are.
So in the last game of the season last year, you did lose to Willard in the first round of the tournament, 11-8, the team that beat you in the first game of the season last year. So kind of bookend your season with Willard. So what have you learned from that game against Willard heading into the offseason at the start of this year?
Airs. Honestly, it comes down to airs, and we joke all the time, mental toughness, that like if we make one, not to let that snowball and continue. And I know that all of my coaches agree with that, and the girls even have t-shirts now that say mental toughness because that truly is a team goal for us. Fortunate for us, we come out against Willard in game 1 this year, so that'll definitely be a true test to where we've come from last year and how we're going to start this year out.
So do you have the same assistants on staff as you did last year?
Yes, I do have Mark Osball and Deidre Taylor. Sam Caldwell has stepped away, but work problems, or busy work, I should
Right.
say. But yeah, so same two other coaches.
So just kind of stressing me the importance of having that same coaching staff. A lot of these girls have played a lot of softball. As you go through the years, how have you been able to build some team chemistry as you try to have a strong year with these 5 seniors?
I know for me, like definitely from my first year till now, and I think some of the girls that graduated my first couple of years, including Coach Taylor, will tell you that I was a little bit more stern and a little bit like harder to read. But these girls break down my walls pretty quickly. Like they probably know more about my personal life than I want them to, and vice versa. So I definitely think that our relationships have just gotten stronger. But like at the same time, I know what each of them need. So I could read Macy's face and know, hey, I need to tell her a joke, or I just need to leave her alone right now. And same goes for every girl within our program. Even our freshmen, I'm getting to know like that. And I know for me, when I had coaches like that, that meant the world, because we're not playing at the Olympics is how I joke about it. So, what can we do to make your day better and turn the game around?
Now, obviously, team chemistry is extremely important, but what are you looking to most on the field this year, both offense and defense, overall as a team?
We averaged over 300 batting average as a team last year, and we didn't get shut out in a single game. I look back at our Bucyrus games, like I think Whit was saying, we put 5 runs up against Kylie. And so I think if we can do that,
Who's the reigning N10 player of the year?
Exactly. And player of the week twice over at our college right now.
Right.
So I think if we're able to do that, and really we only lost 2 starters in that senior class, I think we're going to be fine hitting the ball. It's defense. We need to stir some things up on defense. Our pitchers, and really I'm going to talk about Autumn here. Autumn has stepped up huge going into this season pitching for us, because she really hasn't thrown that much at the varsity level. But I think that she's going to help Mace out to where Mace isn't going to feel that stress every single game, because Mace will primarily be our starter.
You mentioned you only have 16 girls going into this year, so health is going to be extremely important. Are you guys pretty healthy heading into the season so far?
Fortunately, yes. So let's all knock on wood right now. Just a few sore arms and some sore legs, but we're fortunate enough that we have Tracy Kaufman actually doing yoga for us tomorrow, so that'll definitely help. And these guys do a pretty good job of taking care of their bodies.
All right, well, thank you for coming out tonight, and good luck this year.
Thank you.
I'd like to remind you that we are brought to you in part by Rob Less of the Edgefield Animal Clinic in Marion, Matt Ramsey, John Ziegler, Drew Young, Frank Heinlein and Associates at Bucyrus Blades, serving worldwide markets since 1951, as well as Roger Brown at Winks Lock and Safe, South Poplar at West Warren Street in Bucyrus. Coming up next, we will have the Bucyrus softball program with head coach Bud Chargas.